Good afternoon, everybody, and today's story is not just about the Zizzos, but why at this part of my life or stage of my life I'm riding folding bikes. Well, it all started many moons ago, 1983, when I just fell in love with cycling, and a specific type of cycling. It was criterium racing, which was all the rage in the United States. You know, a criterium is basically usually a mile to a quarter-mile loop. It's usually on city streets or parks, and it's just been embraced by American cyclists for many years. So I fell into it. I started racing on a Cannondale RS1. So that is an aluminum fat tube bike with a steel fork, alloy wheels, and everything drilled out to make it as light as possible. And weight wasn't the biggest issue back in the day. Speed was. So how fast were our wheels? Were we racing on latex tubes or were we racing on sew-ups? Most of the time they were sew-ups. And if you guys know anything about a sew-up is a tire with the inner tube sewn into it, and they're glued onto your rim. So if you don't have a good mechanic or good mechanical skills, those tires roll off whenever you do a sharp turn left or right. So they were dangerous but super fast because we were running them close to 150, 160 PSI. Whereas a typical clincher, and that is a wire bead wheel or Kevlar beaded tire, those have inner tubes in them, and usually the max pressure is about 120. So just imagine going 150 pounds of tire, or tire pressure I should say. That is a very hard tire. And back in the day, they were 23 millimeter or 20 millimeter. You know, you look like a clown if you're riding 25s or anything bigger than that on a road bike, because again, cycling is deep in tradition. So as the years go by, you know, you crash a lot. Criteriums are like playing American football. You're banging into something all the time. You go head first or you go elbows out, but there's always a lot of crashes. And that's kind of what brought me to the sport. I used to play football in high school, so I was a bulky guy at the time. You know, I was pushing, in high school, maybe 200 pounds, when I should have been about 165, 170 pounds. But I was a fullback, so I enjoyed banging into people. You know, hitting somebody so hard that you see snot bubbles. And that was the key. But now I come up to date. It's 2022. I have nerve damage in my shoulder, my wrist, and my elbow, because all those crashes added up. All that pushing yourself to the limit adds up. And now the doctors say, well, you're gonna have to live with a little bit of this. And I said, okay, you know, but I still want to ride my bikes. My biggest fear is not being able to ride my bikes. So now what I do is I have the Zizzo Libertaire, the Zizzo Urbano, and a second Libertaire. And my first Libertaire here, I try to mimic a road bike. The only thing that's different on this bike that's not equivalent to a road bike is obviously it has flat bars. But those flat bars put me in a really good position, meaning I'm in a more upright position. Even though I have it as stretched out as I can, the stem's as low as it can go, and the saddle is high enough, you know, for my leg length. I'm only a 30-inch inseam. So, you know, some guys ride them way higher than I do because they're obviously taller. And some guys keep the stem higher, obviously because they're taller people. But this Libertaire really mimicked my road cycling with a flat bar. And I'm thankful for that because I'm in a more upright position, it puts a lot less pressure on my shoulders, my elbows. When you put the pressure more on your sit bones and your legs and your glutes, you know, you're going to ride more comfortably. Same thing with my Urbano. My Urbano's got a super soft saddle, the C17 Brooks. We're running a 52 tooth chainring. It's a narrow wide, just like on Libertaire, it's a narrow wide 52 tooth chainring. So that makes it really comfortable. Second thing, on the Urbano we're running, the dogs are attacking. We're running 1.50 tires, and on the Libertaire we're running, we're running 1.75, 1.50. So basically, I'm riding really comfortable bikes right now, and at my age, I'm now 56. Remember, 1983, I was 18 years old. and now it's 2022. So, you know, do the math. And I find these bikes just to be so much fun. And that's really the key to cycling. You know, you get to a point in cycling where you're an amateur cyclist. You're not being paid to put a number on your back. You're not being paid to ride certain equipment. You're just riding for fun. And I've never been paid to cycle. You know, the clubs I've been on, you get a discount. You sometimes get it at a cost or maybe 5% over cost. But that's still a chunk of change when, you know, you're an amateur cyclist. I never had the talent to be a pro. I never had the talent to get a sponsorship. I only had enough talent to keep my smile on my face every time I got a new bike. You know, new bike day, and that's been a thing forever. New bike day is extremely fun. And normally what we did is you don't get a complete bike. You get a frame set, you get a fork. It depends on what the sponsors are willing to give you. And that's what we put new on. We'll put our old components on our new frame sets. We'll put new components on our old frame sets. It's just funny how it works. You know, the life is fun. Traveling around in Southern California, Northern California, you know, there's so much competition out there in the crit world. And today, it's still a lot of fun. You know, what just passed by? Sea Otter Classic. We had Redlands this weekend. You know, those are all great American races. And I took the Urbano up to Redlands just to spin around and watch the racing. And so many people stopped me and said, "What is that thing? What is that?" You know, they thought it was an electric bicycle. I said, "No, this is no electricity on this bike, no motor. It's just me." And what's the front bag for? They thought that's, you know, the Brompton has this front bag that holds a big battery. You know, this is just a basic bicycle that you pedal, man-powered, human-powered. But that's what's great about these bikes, guys. They're just a ton of fun. So if you're hurting like I am, get on a folding bike. Get on something more upright. Don't give up your cycling, you know, and just keep riding. Talk to y'all soon.